Hello, welcome. So this is a question that I kind of get asked a lot, or at least I get asked about it in like kind of different forms, or different ways. And it's when is it a good time for me to start DJing, or when is it a good time for me to start playing live music? Should I wait after a certain amount of months or weeks, or should I play this kind of venue first, or this type of venue, or this show, or just people are just pretty much trying to get my perspective on when they should start playing music live. And I'm just gonna cut down to the chase. There is no secret formula. There is no perfect time. It's never gonna be a perfect time. So you just gotta do it. Well, see, that here's the thing. Performing can come kind of naturally to some people, and it can't come or comes less naturally to some other people. That's just how. It just depends how you are as a person. That depends on how you are with interacting with other people and how you do with large crowds and stuff like that. So I can tell you, for me personally, I have experienced stage fright. I still do currently go through stage fright at certain times. Have I gotten over the years more comfortable with performing and not just DJing, playing music, but just being public speaking in general? Yes. It's gotten a little bit more easier for me, a little bit more familiarity, and yeah, it's a little bit easier, but yeah, it's still something that hasn't gone away. At least it hasn't gone away for me. So yeah, sometimes performing comes naturally to some people than others, and you just kind of have to like deal with that in your own way. Obviously, there's some advice that I can give and tips on how to better prepare yourself to be prepared to play in front of a large crowd. That I have no problem sharing with you all. But as far as like the perfect time, yeah, you just gotta go out and do it. Step number one, I would say, of course, is pretty obvious: practice, practice, practice. Um, yeah, I would spend at least, maybe I would say, about 2, maybe 3 hours a day, every day practicing, or at least almost every day. And it wasn't even, I at that point, it wasn't even seen as something that was just work. It was just what I love to do. I love like mixing music together and just making like cool transitions and stuff like that. And this was before I was even producing my own tracks. This is just stuff that I was hearing off like the radio and SoundCloud, and songs that were being recommended to me by different artists and stuff like that, or fellow um, people within the rave or EDM scene. Step two, I would say, do your research on where it is you're playing first. So if it's, whether it's like a frat party or a friend's birthday party, or you're getting your first professional paid gig, at a club in the city or something like that, make sure you do your research on what the, what the places that you're playing, what type of music they like to listen to, what your skill set is, and what your forte is. Some people are open format DJs. That means they can play anything: top 40, EDM, reggae, Latin music, hip hop, the whole kit and caboodle. Make sure you're playing music that's going to fit the scene. Make sure that it's going to be something that's going to be it's not mismatched like that is in terms of you and the venue. This is something that's pretty common, or at least kind of like common within normies. I would say, when it comes to music in general. But yeah, read the crowd. Read the crowd, even if you're playing music or a genre that that they're there to listen to, or at least into. Still read the crowd, pay attention, make sure that like your flow is going good, and make sure that like you have your playlist is all set up. Like for example, what I do is, I'm playing someplace new or something like that, I'll make sure that like generally like my intro and the first couple of songs that I play are always kind of like pre-planned, or I know exactly how I was gonna go, and I pretty much know how my ending is gonna be for the most part. But within the middle, I've always leave room there for me to just kind of like freestyle it, throw in some stuff out, take out some stuff. And yeah, that just all comes from just reading a room, like building like a little like connection with the party and everything, and just vibing. Definitely, I would suggest, at least as preparing following those 3 steps, to making sure your first gig goes as easy as possible. So, just to give you an idea, my very first time DJing, or at least my first set, I believe it was my junior year of college. And I had been mixing for like a little bit, in my dorm room. Then eventually think it was a Halloween party, and these guys I knew at the time had asked me like, "Yo, we want to have a DJ here at our place, at our apartment. Like, do you want to play and everything?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, sure, sure." So I got all excited, and well, looking back on it, I don't know why I did this or what made me think that this was gonna make my job any easier whatsoever, but I remember like I had literally wrote down my playlist like on a piece with a pen and paper, like literally wrote it down and wrote down like the time marks on when I should like cut in or when should I cut out and this and that, and I was like going off of that, reading it while I was playing, even though in reality that's pretty much what the virtual DJ was for, or when you DJ, like what your format and reader is there is for. I don't know why I was going off of that. And I remember for the longest, like there was so many like just drunk people and people like kind of like not only just knocking into my little booth that they had made for me, but people were spilling beer on the paper and this and that. I was just like, no, like don't mess up my paper, like don't mess it up. This is like my roadmap. This is what's helping me, making me play better. And it was just, looking back on it, I'm like, why the hell? I don't know. Yeah, just focus on just practicing, get your confidence building up, and yeah, just remember to have fun. So, do it.